All right, this is going to review a little bit more of 7.1 that I forgot to do. So let's just practice. I suggest having a notebook or a piece of paper to review. So if I'm reading it again as 2 and 9/10 as a decimal, I would write 2 and 9/10. They sound exactly the same. 27/10 is a little trickier because it's improper. I have too many tens. I can't have it. As soon as I have 10 out of 10, I have to regroup it for 1. So 27 is way more than 10 to the 10. So I need to find out how many groups of 10 I can pull out of 27. Well, I know I can pull out one group of 10 out of 10 and another group. So that's 2 groups out of 10 out of 10. And that's one whole, and that's one whole. So that's how I got 2. And then if I have 27 and I pulled out 20, I have 7 tenths left over. So then I know that 2 and 7/10 would be read as 2 and 7/10. My suggestion for the improper fractions is to make it into a mixed number and then make it to a decimal, okay? All right, now we have some of these rulers. So I, again, am looking as an example. They want you to write it 2 ways, as a fraction and a decimal. This little thing is on the 8th tick out of 10, so it's 8/10 or 8/10. This ladybug is on the, if I'm looking, if this is 10 out of 10, it's on the 9th out of 10, which is 9/10. And then this little beetle is on, it's definitely past 1, and it's on the 1, 2, oh, my thing's off, 1, 2, 3, 4th hop, so it's 1 whole, and the 4th hop out of 10, which will be 1 and 4/10. The next thing I want to talk about is problems like these, which is a pitcher of water. Again, this is a whole liter of water, so that whole thing is filled up, so that's definitely a 1. This one doesn't quite make it to the 1. So I'm going to count and see. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is decimals. There's 10 hops. And again, now I have to figure out which hop it's on. It's on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th hop. So it's on the 1 whole and 7th hop out of 10. It's on the 7th out of 10 hop. And if I put these together, I would see it's 1 and 7/10, and I would write that as 1 and 7/10. All right, next up are some practice. 9/10 is just 9/10. If I have 7/10, I have 7/10. If I have 1 and 1/10, then I need to realize that this 1 whole is 10. I have 10 plus another is 11, because this 1 whole is 10 out of 10 plus my 1 out of 10, and I get 11/10. Okay? 4 and 3/10, again, 4 is 4 10 out of 10, so that's 40. Plus my 3, 4 and 3/10 is 43/10. Next up is place value. I just really want to show you one thing. If I have 376 and 5/10, and I want to know how many, just in general, all the tenths there would be 3,765 tenths, because I take all of these and I'm just putting them in the tenths place. So I would take those, move them over a place value, okay? Next up is specifically working with place value. So this is kind of going back to chapter 1 where we talked about expanded form. So if I have the number 432, I would make that into 400 plus 30 plus 30 plus 2. We can do the same thing with decimals. So 42 and 3/10, the 4 is 4/10, the 2 is 2 ones, and the 3 is 3/10. Or I can write it as number form, which the 4 is really 40, the 2 is just 2, and the 3 is 3/10. Or I can write it as a fraction. The 4 is still 40, the 2 is still 2, and the 3 is 3/10 as a fraction. So there's kind of 3 ways to do expanded forms. We're going to practice. So 76 and 4/10. That means blank tens. There's 7 in the tens place, and there's 6 ones and 4/10. So that would be word form. Then I can just do decimal form. So again, I have the 7's really worth 70, the 6 is worth 6, and the 4 isn't worth 4. The 4 is worth 4/10. Or I could do fractions, 70 plus 6 plus 4/10. All right, next one is place value again. So we're talking about the value of something and how much it's worth. So if I have 324, the 3 isn't worth 3. The 3 is really worth 300. The 2 is really worth 20, and the 4 is worth 4. It's the same thing here. So they do the 2. Actually, I'll start with the 6. The 6 isn't worth 6. The value of the 6 is 6/10. The 3 isn't worth, well, the 3 is because it's in the 1. The 3 stands for 3 ones, or 3. the 2 is not really 2. The 2 is actually in the tens place, so it's really worth 20. Or you could say 2 tens. Let's try this one. So the digit 1 is in well, it's after the decimal, so I know it's in the tenths place. The value means how much it's worth of the digit 7 is 7 or 7. I guess they want me to say 7 ones or 7. And the digit 5 stands for either 50 or I could say 5 tenths because they equal the same. In 49 and 8 tenths, the digit blank is in the tenths place. I'm hoping we're realizing the digit 8 is in the tenths place. In 95 and 6 tenths, the digit 5 stands for 5 or I could say 5 ones. In 50 and 2 tenths, the value of the digit 0, well, a 0 is just worth 0. In 92 and 9 tenths, the 2 digits 9 stand for, so the first 9 stands for 90, and the second 9 stands for 9 tenths. All right, let's see. And we're going to practice. Again, you should be trying these on your own. So let's see. This is, I see 3 out of 10 colored in, so that would be 3 tenths. This is just a general review. I see 1 whole, and then 2 out of 10 colored in, which is 1 and 2 tenths, 1 and 2 tenths. Next I'm reading the place value, so I see 2 ones. This is like the decimal point, that big black line, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths, 2 and 7 tenths. Oh, this one seems like, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's too many. 13 tenths is too many. I'm going to take 10 of them, regroup to the ones, and now I have 1 whole and 3 tenths left over, which makes sense because if I have 13 tenths, I can pull 1 10 and a 10 and have 3 tenths left over. And again, I'm going to write these as decimals. 4 tenths, 4 tenths. 7 tenths, 7 tenths. 16 tenths is too many. I can pull out 16 tenths and I can make it into 1 whole and then have 6 tenths left over. So I would have 1 and 6 tenths. 14 tenths is too many. Again, that's improper. I need to pull out how many 10 out of 10s. I can pull 1 10 tenths and I would have 4 left over. 1 and 4 tenths. This one reads 2 and 9 tenths, so I would write 2 and 9 tenths. And this one reads 9 ones and 6 tenths. 9 and 6 tenths. And then they want express these as actual tenths. Well, in 3 tenths, I have 3 tenths. And 2 and 9 tenths, the incorrect answer is 9 tenths. If I want to make 2 and 9 tenths, 2 and 9 tenths into tenths, then I need to realize that I really have 29 tenths because these 2 wholes are 10 out of 10 plus 10 out of 10, which is 20, and 9 tenths. So that's 29 tenths. Last thing, 3 and 5 tenths is 3 ones and 5 tenths. 18 and 7 tenths is 1 10, 8 ones, and 7 tenths. 7 and 5 tenths is 7 ones plus 5 tenths. 10 and 8 tenths is 10, or I could do 1 10 plus 8 tenths. 3 and 6 tenths is 3 plus 6 tenths. 21 and 4 tenths is, I'm going to do 20 plus 1, because in the ones place, plus 4 tenths. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and you feel, oh boy, wait, I lied, we have one. Nope, I lied, we're done. I'm hoping that this is helpful for you for understanding more about place value and expanded form. All right, bye guys.